I was all into my health and fitness and everything. And I had my baby in 2018. And then in 2019, I found a lump on my breast. I went to one of my oncologists who I used to work with. And I told her, I'm like, listen, I found a lump and I'm really concerned because the way it feels, it doesn't feel right. And sure enough, within 2 days, they rushed me into getting a mammogram and an ultrasound. And it turned out that I had cancer. I was already developing stage 2 breast cancer. And it hit me like a load of bricks because here I am, I'm doing everything right. I'm eating right. I just became a new mom and all these things going on. Why me? Because I did question it. Why me? And at the same time, I was like, there's a purpose here.
Welcome to Authentic Conversations. If it's your first time joining us, well, I am Amarelis, and
I'm Susan.
And we have a special guest today. Who's our guest?
I'm Roxy.
Hey, Roxy. Oh my God, I can't believe this. I will tell you, I was very nervous to ask you to come and join us.
Why? I always told you I do watch when you guys come out with a new episode because I do subscribe. So when she told me, oh, one of these days I'm going to invite you, I was like, oh my God, yes, I would love to be part of it.
Yes.
Anyway, we could support each other, right?
Well, that's it. It's people supporting people. I mean, we could say it's women supporting women, but really it's people supporting people. And, we all have something to offer. We all bring something to the table. Sometimes we're nervous about our authentic voice. We're nervous about, sharing or, the possibility of oversharing or being vulnerable. And sometimes we're nervous about, asking others because that exposes us too. It's so there's this whole, vulnerability thing. And, a lot of stuff comes up just about, am I good enough? Am I good enough? So am I good enough to invite you to be on? And then am I good enough to be on if you invite me? And then really what good enough for who? Good enough for who? We are all more than enough. So we have to remember that. So,
well, in my world, of course, in this show, I'm just like, oh my God, I invite these amazing people like Roxy, who I admire and who actually I've known for a very long time. We went to elementary school together.
Many eons ago.
And stayed connected.
Yes, the universe has kept us connected. It's beautiful how it works where we have been apart, but things happen and then we reconnect. And I'm so happy that we are back together in each other's lives. And I admire you, Roxy, the work that you're putting out there with your company and your life story that you're putting up on Instagram. So I wanted to invite you over to Authentic Conversation with an honor of you hopefully being comfortable with sharing with us what you do out there for others and also a little bit about you. So thank you. I really, really am honored to have you here today. So
thank you so much for inviting me, honestly, and to wanting to have me share my story. I do use Instagram as my platform, in all honesty, to put myself out there and just to see if I can inspire someone, right? I don't say that I'm perfect. But I think if my story could help someone else, and if it only makes a difference in one person's life, right, a day or something, that to me is what I live for, basically. I know I'm here for a purpose. So if that's what it is for me to share my story, so somebody else could say, you know what, if she's going through it and she did it and she's here, then in my sense, it's not so bad, because we never know who else has it worse.
Yes. And you never know who's listening. That's why the authentic voice piece is so important. That's why it's really important in spite of the fear of judgment to share. So tell us, Roxy, how did you get where you are now?
Oh, okay. So I've always, my company is Herbalife. So it's, what we do is we introduce anyone that's interested in fitness or wellness to our products. So, we, depending on what your goal is, let's say you want to lose some weight. So I will direct you like to which products you will need. We will provide you with a meal plan and how to follow it. What I love about our company is that we create little communities. Even though I could be here in New York, I have clients that are out in California, that are out in Florida, and so forth. So weekly we meet, just so we could share to see where we are with our goals, what do we need help with, and we also have like a chat. So that's how I keep in touch with my clients, just to make sure that I keep them liable, right, and keep them online. I mean, of course, we deviate sometimes from our diets and our plans and so forth. And I get it, because we're all guilty of doing it. But if I could help you just to get back on track, then that's great.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. So how long have you been in the personal wellness, fitness?
I've been doing it actually since 2015. So I had gained a little bit of weight during that time. So I was getting married in October 2015. So I needed to lose at least 20 pounds to fit into the dress.
Motivation. We call it we all have that upcoming.
We need a motivation.
I bought the dress and I didn't fit in it. And I was like, okay, I hung it up and I'm like, this is what I need to fit in. I got 6 months to do this. And just like that in Instagram, I found my coaches. I saw how she lost her weight. And I actually reached out to her. She lives in Miami. And I reached out to her and I'm like, could you help me while I'm here in New York? And she's like, of course, we do everything online. She introduced me to the products. And, within a month, I lost 16 pounds.
Wow.
I stuck to it. Here we got introduced to other Herbalife coaches who were holding their own weekend camps, fitness camps. We will be running. We will be doing exercise in the park, and it was all free. It's not like they were charging or anything like that. And sometimes I know it's hard for certain people to afford a gym membership. So this was great. I was like, okay, this is perfect. And as I started seeing how other wellness coaches helped others, I was interested in that. And I started sharing my results online, and 2 or 3 friends asked me, like, what is it that you're doing? Because you're looking great. And I was like, oh, hey, I'm doing this. I do Herbalife. This is my coach. I referred them to my coach because I wasn't really thinking about the business appeal yet. And he's like, no, Roxy, do you want to be a coach? Like, I'd rather you get the compensation than because it's your story they're following, not mine.
Right. They become your people. You're part of your tribe,
Yeah.
part of your support network.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's how it started. And that's how I've been doing for the past 7 years.
How do you think, Roxy, COVID has affected people physically? Have you seen more people becoming active and involved, or does it feel like more people are going the other way to you? Just curious.
Well, during COVID actually helped our business grow more, if surprisingly, because all the gyms were closed, right? And then there were some people that had anxiety buying food outside and going out there, exposing themselves. So we kind of like taught them, well, this is delivered to your door. We at that time were saying, just make sure you sanitize everything as soon as it comes in and so forth. And we saw our business growing. We created a Zoom group where we would do workouts in the morning and the evening. So we wouldn't lose that. Because again, people had that anxiety of just even walking outside.
Right.
And so we started making schedules, like, well, who's going to do the morning? Who's going to do the evenings? And sometimes we had like 500 people in this Zoom fitness classes. We weren't expecting that many, but we were sharing because we were scared to go somewhere else to work out. So I think it helped in a sense to boost our morale in wanting to stay fit during this whole time. Because, we were home, we were eating, and sometimes anxiety and, just being afraid, you go to food.
Yes.
And not the right foods.
Yes, exactly. Yes. The convenient food, the stuff that, feels like it's satiating you and actually it's depleting you. Roxy, I would imagine that, your fitness, your idea of, being in the fitness industry and the health coaching, and probably wasn't on your long range plan when you got to 2015. What was it that, what was it that you were thinking about? And then lightning struck, you know what I mean? Like, so what did you do prior to this?
Well, I'm an assistant to one of the directors at the NYP hospital. So I do get to see, the effects of, unfortunately, when you don't take care of yourself and so forth. So I was in the back of my mind. I did exercise and so forth, but I wasn't as diligent as I am now. Then, being introduced to this community, I think all to me was the community that we created, the community that I was brought in. They always say you are the person you surround yourself with, right? With the 5 people that you surround yourself with. And I think, right? So I think that's what it was, being surrounded with this community, with moms, because I was at that time just the mom of I think she was 12. I want to say she was 12 at that time, and just seeing, interacting with them and talking to them. And then as time went by, people were coming to me and telling me, hey, I follow you on Instagram and I saw your story and I decided to join because of you. And their success stories was my success story, because I would literally be like, oh my God, I can't believe you're there. Like, I knew when you started and I see you here. And I just felt proud, like a proud mom, you could say.
Yeah. And the confidence grew. It's got to be hard to post those initial pictures and to go back and, I'm just wondering, so I really want you to reflect on like the feeling, right? So the journey, and of course we're all still journeying, right? But what were you feeling like before you plugged into this group?
I really didn't think I could do this. Like, I will see other people being coaches and wellness coaches, but I didn't think I had it in me to. People always say, "Well, I always go to you for, let's say, talk or whatever. Why didn't you become a therapist?" And I'm like, "Oh, I all the schooling I didn't know." But I never thought I had it in me to actually wanting to help others, especially when it comes to the health. My mom was a nurse, so I know I have it in me because she was that kind of nurturing with our health and foods and things like that. But it never clicked until I found Herbalife. In all honesty, I wasn't as diligent. I've been able to do this around my children. My children consume the products too. My little one works out with me, and he's only 4. He helps me make, like, in the mornings when he wakes up, he's already motivated to be like, well, we have to do our shakes in the morning. And he helps me with that. So it's an influence that I've also had in my family, not just outside.
Yes, creating new legacy, creating new habits and, new patterns. And
I loved when I saw the fact that you were going to be a mom again. Yes. It was just so exciting. And then to see the fact that you stuck through it, because that's also a time life where a change, where you can sort of like stop because, we use that excuse, I'm eating for 2 kind of thing. And then I saw your journey, and you were up in the morning, you were still working out. And now that he is 5? 4. He's like, oh my God, little Spider-Man. I love the little Spider-Man. To see these 4 years that you continue to do your journey of waking up at 4 in the morning, and thank you for sharing these videos with you making your coffee in the morning on Instagram, the sunset, and I'm just like, wow. I look at you and I'm like, I want to be that one day. It's amazing. And it does get everyone who's not even like a workout fanatic. I go in and out of it. But I am back at being diligent with what I'm eating, just for myself, with my sugar. For the first time after many years, I've been able to just drink black coffee without sugar. And that for me,
that's a big step.
Yes.
I mean, fights, because I'm very much like, I don't like to be told what to do. So if you're telling me that I should stop doing something, then I'm like, I'll make all the excuses of like, well, I only drink, I only eat sugar once a day. And because it's my defense, and with the work that we've done, it's a realization to know, wow, maybe I should try it a little bit. And I remember when black coffee tasted way
Horrible.
worse than it does now. And but it was one day, it was this one time where I was like, this mind change clicked or something, where I said, all right, I'm going to go back at it. I talked to another friend and she's like, if you're doing the intermittent diet, the fact that you're drinking coffee with your half and half in the morning, you're already breaking it. And I was just like, no, don't say that.
Yeah.
I hate you, but hang up on this phone. And then I was like, okay, so it's almost like when someone else tells you again the same thing that one person is telling you, like your parents. And I said, all right, can I do this again? And being kind to myself, so that I get upset of the fact that I have to keep trying to change one thing, right? Try to change at least the sugar intake in the coffee in the morning, because I'm really good with waiting to eat the intermittent times, but it was just this one thing and I've seen the change. I've seen the change in the energy and the change in my body when it holds so much sugar. So in bread and rice, which I love. Bread and rice. It's my favorite.
It's gradual, right? So
Yeah.
small changes. I mean, so it is a big deal to remove a teaspoon of sugar from your coffee, but it's really such a small piece, but it's a big deal. And that's what we have to understand. So I think when we think about like weight loss journey and we think about, overall physical wellness and emotional wellness, all of those things, it feels too far away because it feels too big. And really, it's a series of small steps, right? So I don't know if you want to reflect on that, Roxy, at all. Like,
Well,
you didn't just cut everything out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I first started, it was just me. So it was hard because now I'm cooking separately for me and then doing a whole total different menu for my husband and the kids because, they're not part of this. But at the same time, it was tempting because I like their meals too. And I'm trying to taste what they have and trying to be so like focused on my goal.
Right.
One thing I do tell my clients and I tell myself, treat your body like a temple. Or treat your body like an altar. I'm very spiritual and I have an altar, right? And I come to it every day with one offering. Why don't we treat our bodies like that? Once a day, just make one change. Treat your body like it's your altar. And we bring waters, we bring flowers, we bring incense or something like that. So why don't we do that with ourselves? Why don't we do that with our bodies? Why is it so hard for us to treat our body correctly and efficiently?
Right.
Because we're going to have it for the next 40, 60 years.
We have to honor it. We have to honor it.
Mm-hmm. And Roxy, sorry, Susan, go ahead.
Well, no. So to that effect, right? So it's really about, also making it work for you, So whatever motivates you, whatever it is that you can pare down on, like as a start, because when you start to feel results, that's where the momentum comes in, right? So the momentum isn't when you first start, you're not like, oh, yay, I'm going to, totally annihilate, but, stay with some of the things that you enjoy. So if you enjoy walking, then, make sure that you add walking in. You don't have to go out and run a 5K because you've decided to feel better, right? So you just add an extra 15 minutes to your walk or start with a 15-minute walk. So, it's like manageable. Let's make it manageable because your body will start thanking you. And when you start feeling better, then you're going to be more motivated to do the things that continue to make you feel better.
And with that, Roxy, I wanted to ask you if you're okay with sharing with us. There was a health issue that happened in the transition of you already working out. Am I correct? Mm-hmm. The timeline? You were
becoming a new mom.
Mm-hmm. Becoming a new mom. And then something really big happened. And I would love if you're okay with sharing that with us, your journey of this, please.
So I was all into my health and fitness and everything. And I had my baby in 2018, May 2018, healthy baby boy. And then in 2019, I found a lump on my breast. I used to work with breast cancer patients. So when I kind of felt the lump, I knew it wasn't good, because I kind of knew the texture, like what to look for, what are the signs and so forth. And I honestly thought I was tired, physically tired, because of having a newborn. My son wasn't even 1 when I found this lump. And I'm like, well, I just blamed being tired. I'm like, well, maybe I'm overworking my body too much, or maybe I'm, you know, waking up too early. It's the mom's, blues and so forth. But I decided, I found the lump. I went to one of my oncologists who I used to work with, and I told him, I'm like, listen, I found the lump, and I'm really concerned because the way it feels, it doesn't feel right. And sure enough, within 2 days, they rushed me into getting a mammogram and an ultrasound, and it turned out that I had cancer.
Mm.
I was already developing stage 2 breast cancer, and it hit me like a load of bricks, because here I am, I'm doing everything right, I'm eating right, I just became a new mom and all these things going on. Why me? Because I did question it. Why me? And at the same time, I was like, there's a purpose here. There's a reason why I'm getting this. So I went, let me see, I started all my treatments April of 2019. And I completed everything April 2020. So it was a year full of chemo, radiation, surgeries. And it turns out that my breast cancer was because of hormones, too much estrogen in my body. And I was kind of grateful, because I was like, okay, I thought it was something that I had done, or something that I was doing, or something that I was consuming, because we all hear how certain products, certain things we eat, or too much of it could cause cancer, but it's based mostly on hormones. But during that time, people kept putting in my head, where are you gonna let go? You're gonna feel defeated, and chemo does this to you. And in all honesty, I took it all in, and I kept running, I kept exercising, I kept showing my kids that if I have chemo the next day, I'm okay, I won't eat, but I have my nutrition, my liquid nutrition, to help me gain that strength and so forth, because there's certain things that I couldn't eat, because I would get like these tongue sores and mouth sores after chemo. But I kept positivity in my head. I kept reading why certain things happen. There's a lesson here in all of it. And maybe it took me now, I could say 2-3 years, to finally realize what was needed done, because I was so obsessed to being the perfect mom. I'm so obsessed to be the perfect coach. I am so obsessed to be the perfect wife. But then what about me? Like, there was no time for me to be spiritually in all honesty. I forgot about my spirituality. I forgot about my mental health, and it really like rocked me and sat me down and said, you know what, you need help. You need some type of emotional help. You need mental health. And you need help. And I was so afraid to ask for that. So
because
when,
it's a
when,
sign of weakness, or
yeah,
whatever. Yeah.
mm-hmm. So in all honesty, now I understand why I had to go through it, because it's so hard for me to ask for help. I am that person that I'll figure it out. I mean, I lost my mom when I was young. So we came from humble beginnings. So it was very hard for us to ask for help. Like, we'll figure it out. It was just me and my brother and sisters. And between the three of us, we'll figure it out. Like, we didn't have that extended family to help us. We didn't have, certain things. We'll figure it out. And that's always been my kind of mentality. So when this happened, I said to myself, well, I'll figure it out. No, sweetie, you have help out here being offered to you. Take it.
Right.
So I think
So
to me, that was one of my biggest lessons there.
Yeah, so replugging into yourself, instead of paying attention to the external, this gave you that necessary pause to say, hey, how am I filling my cup? What about me?
Yeah.
What is it that I need to help me through this? And just kind of, you had already, and thank goodness you had, because I think that already being on the physical part of the journey helped you maintain the strength that you needed to overcome the battle but the byproduct of the battle was really the emotional, the meeting all your needs, really coming back to yourself, which is so beautiful. Thank you for sharing. You are an inspiration.
Thank you.
Roxy, I mean, through all this time, all your posts on Instagram were so light. We're so you could feel the light of love through your journey. And I pray for you. And I was always hoping, because I know that as an outsider, you feel like there's not a lot that you can do. Like, what call am I going to make to say the same thing that I know everyone's saying, as you've mentioned, right? Like, how can I support so my support to you was always praying and leaving a message and just sending you light of healing and love, because I believe in that. And I know that through that, we all heal. And it was just beautiful to see that you stayed so strong and so positive, always sharing with your audience your journey, and letting us all be there for you by holding space for you. So I want to thank you for that. And it's been an amazing thing to see your journey of yourself being here. And that's why I was, I wanted to share that story with Authentic Conversation. And I just was like, are we the platform too? Can we have that honor of sharing this with our audience? Because this is what Authentic Conversation is about. It's about holding space. You mentioned so many things that we always say. It's about the people you surround yourself with. It's about the thoughts you let in, when others wanted to bring fear of you having a newborn and this life changing, where you were already on this great path. And then all of a sudden this happens and you're like, the why, where you could have easily gone negative, right? And mad and anger would be the poison that would not help. The fact that I'm so happy that you went the other way and you allowed others to help you, those that were really close to you and know you and been there for you, where they were already like, I'm here, and allowing that, those 3, 4, 5 people, right? Because sometimes we think it has to be so many people, and too many people can say the wrong thing. Too many people in the world can bring their fears in, and then all of a sudden you were on the right track, and then boom. Did you feel that way? Did you feel like you had to kind of stay very close to figuring out who were you connecting with during this journey?
I did. I figured out who was my tribe in all of this. That's how I see it. There's certain circumstances in your life that you go through that you brings in the right people, I say, and takes away those that are not meant for you. And that's how I saw it. I'm like, they were here for me for a season, and they're not here now. And I understand why. Maybe my journey was too much for them, because some people do say, "Oh, well, I don't want to see her sick."
Right.
Right. I don't want to be
right. Whatever theirs is. I mean, it's not to be judged. It's not, no, it's true. Whoever rises, to the particular occasion, when people rise, others, fall to the wayside. That's for sure. And you are a, pillar of courage and strength and mindset and just, physical, emotional, radiant.
No. Thank
radiant.
you. Yeah, but that's how you learn and you keep going. Like I say, I appreciate that they were here for that part of my life. You no longer want to be part of it. I have no problem. I send you many blessings. I pray for you, and that's all I could do. And hopefully one day, you'll see back and be like, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't have been so afraid of what she was going through, because look where she is now. And that's how I see it. It's a lesson for them too.
Yeah, and so in that note, like when somebody hears of some news like that, because I was afraid. I was afraid to say, would I call now that we've never, we reconnected? How do I support you? So what would you tell somebody who's on the other side who wants to support? Like I felt that my way of supporting was by praying and feeding and sending you private messages on where it wasn't on through the entire media, but also giving you your space to have a sacred space that I knew that you needed to have, which was with your connection of your family and people. What advice do you give somebody who hears these news and feels that way and feels like, how can I help?
One, I think, go within yourself. and put yourself in that person's shoes, and what would you want? Because I think what you give out is what you get back. So what would you like? What would you want to expect? Do you want people to be showering and hovering over you, or just give them their space and be like, you know what? Let me send her a message. That's how I always start too. I work now with the breast cancer it's called the warrior groups. And we help with those newly diagnosed patients. And then we take aside the family members and we tell them, like, you know, she's going through a rough time, or he's going through a rough time right now. Let her sit in it, because it hasn't hit her yet.
Yes.
We have to allow, you know, them to sit in their pain, sit in whatever they're going through at this point. Please do not attack them. Oh, everything will be great. No, everything will not be great. Because it's 16 weeks of chemo. There's going to be days where you just don't want to wake up and you're like, I feel sick to my stomach. Let her be sick to her stomach, because those are the things that we have to go through as we survive this, as we go through this. So I do always tell somebody that's newly diagnosed, family members or friends, let them sit in their pain for now. Let them have their emotions. Let it come out, because it's going to be a wave.
It's so important not to invalidate, you know, what someone is feeling, or to try to make it okay because it's uncomfortable for you. And I think, you know, Amaryllis, to your question, you know, everybody is different. So I think the most important thing is, I'm going back to the beginning, right? Your authentic voice. You ask, what is it that I can do for you? And if it's simply say prayers, then that's what you'll get. And there's nothing simple about saying prayers, but, you know, if that's the answer, or, you know, drop me off groceries, cook me a meal once a week, you know, whatever it is, that, you know, people will know that you reached out. So if there is something that comes up, they remember who reached out.
Yeah. I mean, when I went live on my story on Instagram, that was the one thing that I did ask. I'm like, you know, if you believe in prayer, if you believe in a higher good God, universe, whoever you believe in, all I ask is for your prayers. I don't want the I'm sorries or anything like that. All I'm asking for you is for your prayers. And in all honesty, like Amaryllis said, people started DMing me and sending messages like, my prayers are with you. You know, they didn't make anything public or anything like that. Just they put it on the side, like, I'm praying for you every night. Or what are your children's names? Because I want to pray for your children while they go through this as well.
Yes. And all the other people who are afflicted, you know, who are, you know, so prayers are universal. And if we can raise the vibration of the world through prayer, then everyone gets an opportunity to come that much closer to healing, which is why we offer this. If it touches one person, if your story touches one person, which many people are already touched, you know, through the work that you do. But, you know, if one person hears this and doesn't have that support, it gives them. Can you share with us, Roxy, what is your Instagram account? So if people would like to follow.
Sure. It's, let me see, because fit FIT underscore and underscore faith 78.
Fit underscore and faith 78. Got it.
And then also, are we allowed to share the page you sent me that is
yeah.
Okay.
That's my website for anybody that's interested in starting Herbalife. I do have a website. It's goherbalife.com/Roxy Herbal Fitness.
Roxy Herbal Fitness, love it.
Yeah.
So I'm sure if you Google Roxy Herbal Fitness, you're gonna find your website. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I love that. Thank you for sharing your information with us and our audience and your story. You absolutely will be back.
Yes. Thank you for letting me share my authentic voice.
I love that. Yes. It's so important that we share who we are, because in being who we are, you know, it lifts people. It allows people to see parts of themselves and their own authentic voice. So thank you.
No, thank you, guys. I'm so glad just to be part of this.